fluorescent want to do that, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's prizes. There's prizes. So I haven't quite firmed up how to handle the mechanics yet, whether it's getting passports stamped or it's in businesses, whether it's not in businesses and it's in street locations where somebody might be posted to stamp a passport, let's say, or find something that's hidden. But it's a way of getting people in and out of the districts, getting them to see the context of those areas, and having a fun day while they're at it.
So
when we did it at Wash U for the students, we had them take pictures where they were.
I've done that too, and it was super fun because I had the Mercedes Club driving all over South St. Louis, like the worst part of South St. Louis, because that's where German heritage sites are. And they had one guy who said, "I don't think I'm supposed to be in a picture." He was like a drug dealer. So, but we all got together afterwards and laughed our heads off. So yeah, I mean, that's the hope, that it just becomes a fun thing. Webster's represented well as a community and has a variety of locations that you could come back and visit. A raise awareness piece.
how would you fund it?
Well, there is a small budget probably through the city hall, but as it unfolds, it might be necessary to, get some funding. But I don't expect that it's an expensive project. You can pretty much run these things practically for free. It's the prizes that amount to something. And or, the place you end up at, do you have a free beer for people? Is it all up to them? So that kind of stuff has to be sorted out, but I'm not expecting this to be a major expense.
Honestly, I'm fine with any of it. The downside is I don't have a lot of volunteer time and to help out. And I'm not sure what is needed from a financial standpoint kind of on that. So would love to hear more. I'm always excited to get more people into Webster Groves and exploring it and seeing it. But a lot of the people on the phone call here are more professional services. So we don't benefit directly from a restaurant or a beer or a walk-in or anything like that. So, it's good for the community.
You're right, Chris, and that's exactly right. This will be more of a business to consumer initiative. I know the Crossroads district has a lot of professional services, as you say. So even though all of you guys with your professional services there really have quality professional service businesses, this is the Saturday crowd, that's coming and going. And, they might notice that your company is there and go, aha, but it's probably not going to be people running in and out of your location.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, I was just curious. I'm all for anything that you can do to bring excitement to Webster. So we'll support you in any way we can.
Great. Does anybody else have any questions or comments?
Did you mention, I know you've got it down as, or we have it in our agenda as a possible scavenger hunt. Do you have a date or time frame that you're looking at?
Well, we had originally thought it would be pretty soon, but as I joined the committee and started to realize that getting input was part of the procedure, it sort of slowed down. So I'm thinking it'll probably be a springtime event. I have to understand where all the rest of the events fall and not interfere with anything like that. And fall is a very wonderful time because there's usually less weather, but that has to be determined.
Well, I think we're all thinking it's a good idea, Cece.
Okay, thank you, Bob.
Eric, who's sitting across the table from you? I can't see who that is.
That's Todd Ray, our Public Works Director, for the next item, our streetscape.
Got it. Okay, Todd. Any more questions for Cece?
No, thanks, CC, for trying to put this all together.
Thanks, Chris.
It's a fun idea. All right. Well,
Thank you.
Let's move right along. Cece, you can either stick around if you want, but we're gonna go on with the meeting. Next agenda item is old business, and it's a streetscape project, and that's Todd sitting next to Cece. Eric, you had a meeting in St. Louis County.
Yeah, and so actually, that was a meeting this past Friday. Todd was there along with other members from the city and along with county. It might have been here.
It was here,
It
yeah.
was here. So I figured, why not, instead of me interpreting things from other people about a meeting that was happening, I'll have Todd, who was at the meeting and who deals with transportation issues every day, be here to give you the update and where things are sitting.
So the meeting was started by the mayor, because she has concerns with Hickson now has more students walking to school. And the intersection of Big Bend and Elm, which is controlled by St. Louis County, is not very safe for pedestrians.
Really?
Really?
I think it was
So,
the safest one we had.
yeah. So we were trying to get the county to do something with the intersection, and they said, well, what about your Crossroads Business District project? And I said, well, we weren't doing anything with the intersection. Well, maybe you should. And the county's like, we'll partner with you guys. I'm like, oh, okay, well, they've tried federal grants a couple times and been denied. They go, yeah, but if you add the intersection and it's all safety related, that'll give you a bunch of points and you'll get the grant. Plus the county's gonna sponsor it, help co-sponsor it, and that'll help. But we need you to do the other section from the railroad to the overpass on 44. Like, oh, okay. So it's all for county. So the mayor and everybody else was on board. Dr. Peoples was there. So they want us to try to go for another grant, but expand the scope of the project to include the intersection and the county's stretch from the railroad to the overpass. And the county put together a little sketch of what they thought would be a good thing for the intersection with a bunch of bump outs and new concrete islands for safe areas for pedestrians to be protected. So, I mean, it's something that we can put into a new grant. I've reached out to Cochran to tell them we're going to look at doing this again. So we'll see where it goes.
So, Todd, first of all, Bob, Mr. Chairman, Todd, I think we can scan that in and send that out.
I can, yeah, I can scan it and email it to everybody, or I can email it to you and you can email it out.
Yeah, so we'll get you a copy of the one.
Are they the same bump outs, Todd, that we've been working on, and, you know, sidewalk improvements? Are they the same? You know, that we've been looking at.
It's slightly different, but it does shorten that crosswalk on the west side. Because they, on the northwest corner, they make a big concrete bump out up there, which is kind of what you
What
guys.
do you mean at the intersection? Is there any way to scan that in right now
Yeah.
while we're sitting here?
I
I can scan it, yeah.
don't know if you can scan it and email it in the quick time.
Oh,
You
that-
can
that
scan it
would
with
be-
Are you able to just display it? Are you able to display it?
We're trying to figure out how to get it on there, so.
Yeah.
Operating between a couple different computers, but we'll get it done, so.
Well, why don't we keep talking? I heard Todd say that he contacted Cochran. I've been pretty vocal in the past on my opposition with Cochran. It seems like this is a new project now because it's going all the way, including the intersection, all the way to the overpass. And it's almost like starting over. And if we want to replace Cochran, now would be the time to do it. And anybody that wants to voice their opinion on this, you know, please do so. I found them to be 11th hour with us for years now, every time we've called on their service. And COVID had a little bit to play in that in the last 15 months, but we've been with them a couple of years now. And it's always a rush. I don't think we've got their attention, and we have paid them, but this is going to be a much bigger project. There's no telling how big of a project because now the county all of a sudden seems motivated, and it could be a whole different look at the intersection. And it's going over the railroad tracks, which will involve involvement with the railroad all the way through to the overpass. It's a whole new project, and it's a big one.
My question is, Bob, is if we're doing a grant again now, I mean, what is our timeline for this grant application? What is our timeline for this grant application? When does it have to be in by?
It's in February, is when they're
February?
due.
Well, Heidi, to answer your question on the East-West Gateway grant application, I mean, Chris and I learned how far away we were at the time that we appeared. We were nowhere close. And as I came out of that meeting, I said, we're a year away from getting what we need to have ready for a grant application. Those applications, those I's are dotted, those T's are crossed. They're very good applications. They're very good presentations. And we were nowhere close. So I don't know if we're looking at this February. I don't see how we could pull it together that fast because we really don't know what the county has in mind for the intersection. Go ahead, Heidi.
I guess that's my concern, is how do we get this grant together? And
You won't get it together by February. No way. You're looking at the following February. Because, I mean, you're going to get that approval if you have the county's input, and look how long it takes to get with the county. And we don't have any drawings, and you know, they have just expanded the size of this project from sidewalks and streetscape. Go ahead.
Coming from this meeting, was it your idea that we were doing it this February or a year from February?
Dr. Peoples would like it this February. Yes.
This February.
She likes to do fast track everything.
Did Cochran do the grant or did we?
Cochran did the grant.
We've done two runs at it. The first one was the 11th hour thing that I was so disappointed in. The second one, I mean, they had difficulty because we weren't really far enough along either. But I'm looking at this drawing now that Eric put in for us. Is everybody able to see that?
Yep.
Yeah, zoom out, back out a little so you can see. the
Yeah,
whole-
back out some, yeah. There we go.
And what specifically is county looking for from the railroad tracks to the overpass?
Just a re-overlay and restriping
Okay,
to eliminate the 4 lanes down to 2 lanes in
so
the center.
no major reconstruction.
No.
Okay.
Just an overlay.
Todd, let me ask, the city has obviously put funds in for a huge portion of the streetscape.
Correct.
Does that have to be yoked with the intersection improvements, or can we do all or a chunk of what the streetscape part that we would fund?
We could, but it may, then it would just be the intersection going to the grant.
Right,
and it
right,
probably,
yeah.
We don't want to do
Yeah.
that.
probably wouldn't get it
Nope, I
as
don't
much
recommend
points
that
that
one.
way.
I wanted to bring up all possibilities
Yeah.
and eliminate those that
So,
are.
I mean, okay, so who did you say is interested in fast tracking?
Dr. Peoples, the city manager.
City manager, okay. So then I guess who would be the quality control this time from our side of the table? You know, the opposing side of the table being Cochran, that, you know, would make sure that we put forth a really good grant application. I think that would be our concern, because the two that have gone so far have not been,
It
you know,
would-
spectacular.
Right, it would probably be my department, Public
Okay.
Works, where previously it was the planning department, I think, so.
Okay. Bob,
Yes. Heidi, was that you?
so it was me, yes. I mean, because if it's gonna go this February, it's not gonna be any other firm other than Cochran.
Because I got the majority of the drawings done, it's just adding the intersection.
And the intersection's a big deal, and they haven't gone beyond the railroad either. And we
Yeah,
never
that's-
did square away Baker Gore, Big Bend. We're still talking about that. Is it going to be 2 ways? Is it going to be 1 way? We haven't even come up with an answer on that yet, and what to do with those homes. So we're not, as much as we've talked about it for years. You know,
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I'm thinking this is the time, this is our golden opportunity to get this done. So using what we have, how do we come together as a team? And instead of leaving this meeting today, not having us not having another date to get together other than a month from now to say, let's do this. Let's, let me be the cheerleader here, which is not my personality. But let's do this. Let's get this done, Like I'll come to every freaking meeting you need me to be at. Whatever I can do.
Refresh your memory on this intersection. Is this a sketch? What does this drawing represent? This is not a final. This is just a sketch, right?
Correct.
A very first draft that
Yeah, county
somebody
put
put
this-
on their CAD system or what?
Yeah, no, I think county just drafted this up. I don't think they even did it on CAD.
But
I think he
I mean,
probably did it on-
even this could change, snap of a finger. It could change. I'm still looking at it, because we felt like we've had momentum before, even at like Alma and Big Bend, and then there was, I'll call it a sketch. Jim, I think it's Knowles. What's his last name?
Yeah, Jim Knoll, yeah, with the
Knoll.
county.
Then he came in with kind of a hand-drawn sketch, and Christie's like, that's not safe. What he drew is unsafe for cars coming from Alma onto Big Bend. And that was, 4 months, 5 months ago, 6 months ago, whenever that was. Like we're so eager to say yes, but then it just always keeps changing on us, and we haven't pinned down with the city what to do with Gore, Baker, and Big Bend. I mean, last time we talked, I think that was when Mar was in the meeting. She said it's going to be two-way, and we had an argument about traffic study, and then Heidi's like, well, you made a really good point to say, what was your point about that study, Heidi? Oh, we were cutting into the hillside. We were taking all this additional land, and you were right about that. So I still can't see doing a project without making Baker one way. It's just, I mean, Chris, you see the risks every day right in front of your building. And if we're going to go to all this trouble and keep talking about it for years and still not make that a safer intersection, then I don't know, I think we're spinning our wheels. And it's not just Chris, I mean, it's everybody's customers that are visiting our offices.
Just to be honest, when I sit here every day, usually 4 to 5 times I hear skidding, I hear honking, I hear craziness. Someone backs their car out right into Big Bend, an older person getting food, and drives back into traffic flying over the railroad tracks, which almost hit a kid the other day. And it's probably one of the worst intersections. I'm amazed more people don't get hurt or killed or more accidents. It's the joke in our office is we have big windows that look out to it. It's almost the entertainment of the day to see what's going to happen.
Okay, so then rather than sitting and talking about this once a month, what do we do from this talk right here that's not a month from now, that we get a core group of people together with you and get all these issues on the table, find out every single issue and make an actual next step forward? I guess I need to know that process. I don't know that process because I don't do this for a living.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we probably want to have the engineer involved too, that's going to be putting them
Correct.
together, so
And if
they
it's
can
gonna
hear it
be-
all and
If the
incorporate it
target
all.
date is the grant application by this February, that engineer is gonna be.
21st. That'd be my,
And, yeah,
yeah, because they have the plans for your stretch.
right,
They don't have the intersection, it's just
Right.
adding the intersection, and the other is just an overlay, so it's not that hard to add an overlay.
Right.
And stripe.
But what I think, about the Baker conversation is another piece to
That's a big
your
piece,
piece is about, and that's That's a larger context.
Because
The
that's a-
council then
That's a city
determining.
and council thing, yeah, because council has to change ordinances if you're gonna change it to a two or one-way street.
Which we can do, and so I'll just, the whole I mean, what I think I'm hearing is, let's get a special group together, the subcommittee, task force, whatever you want to call it, with the right people, week to 2 weeks at the far end, together, so we can plot that scope out. But then also just for the business district to be aware, to that you would be bringing a recommendation to the council if you're scoping that to say Baker goes one way. So there's not just the project and consultants engineering, but there's also going to council for an
Then we
ordinance
need all of
change.
this to be heard and considered.
Exactly, but we need to start with that meeting of what's in the scope, right, and what do we want to do it, so we can easily pull that meeting together if that's the desire, and is county in that meeting, or is it the engineers from Cochrane?
Just engineers from Concord.
I think we need to start on this end first.
Yeah, exactly, so I agree, so.
Okay, Chris and Bob,
Yeah, I'm all for whatever we can do. It's just, I guess it's being let down, a whole bunch of times and getting frustrated and just getting excited about it and then not being able to get anywhere.
It's very defeating. And I was most defeated when Mara backtracked on the city and said that Baker, that we never, reached conclusion, or that Baker's going to stay two-way. And I just thought we're wasting our time. The project should not be done until Baker gets safer. It was one of the biggest parts of why we're doing this. I mean, it's to make Big Bend safer too for walkers and bikers and skateboarders. But that intersection, if we're not doing anything with it, I don't know why we're going to do anything at all.
Really quick, is all the lightscaping still in the plan if we're gonna go for this?
Yes,
Yes,
Okay. And that's what I was very interested in, is bringing those lights down, making it more friendly.
right.
and that's why I want to have like this core meeting group that we hit every one of these, because
Right.
over the span, I mean, this talk has been going on since I was pregnant. My daughter's 16.
Wow.
So a lot of stuff gets like kind of dropped, and it's too long. That talk is too long, and things get forgotten, things get dropped, and
Right.
that's why, it seems like this is a good time to really move forward on this project. So we really got to not go a whole month before we,
Heidi, do you have the time?
I have time. I will be here. I'm here. I'm an orthodontist, but I'm here. Whatever I can do to help with this, I will do it, because I am so ready to see this through to fruition.
Yep, I know you are. I can hear it.
so Mr. Chair, if you wish, I am happy to send out today some availabilities and start coordinating, getting a subgroup. We can obviously do Zoom and hybrid in the room. We can do it all however we want to do it. So I just need to know is it the whole business district? Is it a piece of the party here? So who we need from your group in that meeting, so I can invite them.
Everybody, please voice up. Who wants to be involved in the subcommittee?
We got Chris and Heidi.
If I can
I
make
have-
it, I'll be there.
Yeah,
Is that Josh?
unfortunately, I don't have any more time than I already have right now at this particular point, but if I can join later, I will.
And then Bob, you're going to be in it as well?
I was actually going to let you two do it.
All right.
Yeah, and so, Mr. Chair, right now, I think I heard from Heidi, Chris, and was that Josh I heard as well? Say yes?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So we have three, so we don't have a quorum of the business district, which is good, so we don't have to go through the notice requirements, so three is a
I see.
good number.
Okay.
We'll get that pulled
Well, if
together.
it's a subcommittee meeting, you probably.
Well, yes,
Oh,
yeah, well, but it's not the.
Yeah,
full
right,
business.
exactly.
So we'll get a doodle poll out today. I'll get that out to everyone, and then including Todd's shop and folks, and see when we can get a meeting together and such about the whole scope of the project and all the issues on the table. And I would I'm going to turn to Councilwoman Richardson, if you're on, Sarah. Is
Yeah.
that something you would like to join, since there may be a recommendation to council at some
Yes,
point?
especially, I don't want to delay it if it's something I can't make at the same time as everybody else, but I'd like to be there if I possibly can.
Great. I'm going to stop sharing the image so you can all see each other now again. And we'll get that emailed out to you shortly here, Mr. Chair.
So Chris, let's just, the East-West Gateway meeting that we went to now, whenever that was, January, whatever year that was. The key is, of course, having a drawing that is submittable, having the county as part of it, as they call themselves, partners or co-sponsors. All that has to be done, of course, before February. And then, of course, the application has to be done. And it's not an easy application. Any sort of fine points or keys that you remember?
Yeah, it really, besides the application, it came down to all the points. How many points do you get for each thing? And safety was a huge thing that would get you a lot of extra points for your job.
Yeah, and to add to that, the school district is going to be taking pictures of the intersection with kids in it to show how unsafe it is. So we can add that into the application too.
It's funny, we've been talking about it for years and for this very purpose too. And Hickson was a big part of our discussion. And now that Mayor Welch has this on top of her agenda and the county says we want to co-sponsor, I don't know, is it too early to get excited that this is going to actually come to fruition?
I'm getting
Maybe.
excited.
I mean, we really needed a push or an impetus, and maybe we have it. I no, can't get excited yet, but maybe we have it. Maybe we have the right people's attention. Any other comments? I think our group at the very least should pin down Baker, Gore, and Big Bend right now. We've been talking about it for years. Is there any dispute among us as to what we want?
One way.
One way.
One way going west, correct?
Yes.
I didn't think about that.
Josh?
One way from Big Bend.
I agree.
One,
I think that's
One way
really
west.
our only feasible option.
Right. I think there was a misunderstanding at one point that we were going to we were going to put in slanted parking spots and the residents were concerned about that and we nixed that idea. It was just a one-way west, so we weren't.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Well, they weren't happy about that either, but you know,
So it adds a minute to their drive time.
I mean, it's really only impacting what, 8 houses or something?
It's fewer than that. It's the businesses that, but I mean, the individual residents that talked to me personally, they were happy about it. The ones right in the corner, I didn't talk to them, Chris. I don't know if you know the West family. I didn't talk to them, but the ones up the line a little bit, 2 of the residents, and it's not 8, it's only a handful. They were ecstatic about it, making it one way. And even at that time, we were still considering dead ending the street. I don't think the city would go for that. But Heidi, you have to be strong on that and say this is what we're not doing a project without it. So
I understand.
if you guys do a project, it's all on your own. We want that one way.
I totally agree. I don't disagree with that at all. I'm just saying,
Otherwise,
I don't want to miss this opportunity
Yeah.
to strike here by choosing a different engineering firm that would delay the process of using this opportunity. That was circuitous, but I think we understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else on streetscape? Well, Eric, and Todd, that is new information for us, and you can tell everyone is hyped about it. So
Yeah, no, I understand, totally understand.
very good. All right. Any new business to report?
No new business, sir.
How about a city update?
We do have a city update, so I'll run through a laundry list of a couple things here and then make sure to ask for Councilwoman Richardson if she has any comments. Some business openings and such. Book Go at 46 West Lockwood is coming back into town. Union Studio is moving a storefront to the west. They need a bigger space, and there's a new business, Fourth and Home, going in where Union Studio was. Fourth and Home is vintage furniture and housewares. Eurotrash is under construction on the interior. Union Bagel under construction. Yorkshire has some things under construction, and of course we had a fire. If you all saw this past week down at the Smokers Palace. So there was a fire in the big Yorkshire Plaza. But Sushi and Wingstop is under construction in Yorkshire. Total Access Urgent Care down on Big Bend and Laclede. All their permits have been issued for construction. And Betty's Books, a new bookstore, a comic book store, excuse me, is opening on East Lockwood this month. Down on the south end of town, council has had first and second reading and the public hearing and the readings on SMR Auto, the car dealer on Watson, for a conditional use permit to allow them to do auto repairs along with auto sales. And then obviously our biggest issues in terms of the business community, but also our land use is Douglas Hill. That is certainly taking lots of oxygen. Planning Commission, voted 4-4 on Monday. So that is not a recommendation from planning, but it is not an adverse reaction either. It's literally no recommendation from the Planning Commission on the big Douglas Hill project. So the council will begin on October 5th, the beginning of their process on the zoning ordinance. And I want to be very clear, that is not October 5th in the next meeting and then it's decided. That is a long process. It is, our expectation from staff is that the council is going to want to make sure to have a public hearing or two about this issue, given the community involvement. So I do not expect quick action from the council. Certainly the council could change their mind and go quickly. I don't know, but I mean, that's their decision, but that's what we're preparing for as staff. The TIF Commission in relation to Douglas Hill will have their public hearing on October 27th at the rec center. And we invite everyone to be a part of that. The notices have gone out to the property owners and such, but certainly you'll be hearing more from the city about that. The TIF, of course, is the property tax and sales tax increment funding to pay for public infrastructure improvements at Douglas Hill. So that is on the 27th. We would expect if the TIF Commission is prepared on November 10th to make their recommendation to council to see that in December moving in front of the council. So Allison, I see your hand.
I have a question about the TIF. To me, the TIF it doesn't pay for anything. It takes money away from the city.
So TIFs do not work like that. So everything that the city gets right now, we continue to get in TIF. It is the increment of approval. So think of you have I'm sure you can't see me because I hold my hands, but you've got the baseline, which is set when the TIF starts. Every dollar of revenue up to that baseline always still flows to the city, the schools, to everywhere. The increment, the I in the TIF, is all the new taxes, the assessed value because of the development, can be borrowed against or used as a pay-as-you-go model. That increment between the baseline and whatever is reached is what the TIF uses to pay for the public infrastructure. So for the life of the TIF, any TIF district, including like when we did shops at Old Webster, there is always what the city gets right now will always continue to come to the city. That baseline is set. And then from there, the increment pays for the public infrastructure.
Okay. But
And we've got, and if you look on and I can send this link out if you wish, the TIF Commission has their cost benefit analysis paid for by development strategy, or paid for by us. Development Strategies did it. That is out. The TIF is projected to have revenues during the TIF of $39 million new revenue over the course of the TIF that is not collected by the TIF that goes to the taxing districts. So that's the city, the schools, the county, the Old Webster district obviously is in there. I mean, all the library district, 39 million. Now that's over the course of the TIF. So that's not every year 39 million, but that is the aggregate increase in revenues during the TIF. That would be then compounded even bigger because you take the increment you've been using to pay for that infrastructure and that new revenue once the TIF is done and all that revenue flows in. So, and that is available on the website, and I can send it to you all if you wish.
Thank you.
I will,
That's as good an explanation on a TIF I've ever heard. It's always been a mystery to me too, Allison and Eric. That was got me closer to understanding it. I'm still not there, but I'm a lot
Yeah.
closer. That was a very good account.
thank
Yeah,
you.
I just thought it was them not paying the taxes while we gave them the time.
So, and in fact, what I'll do is I'll make sure we have a presentation from Development Strategies with a very handy, what I did with my hands as a chart, as a visual. So I will make sure to send that to you so you can see it. And so that'll show you. And that's the big key, is the I in that whole TIF thing is the increment. So the baseline is what it is. Anything above that is what we borrow against.
You're borrowing against the increased value.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, that's the increment.
And-
Okay.
and-
Pretty
And
good.
the city is borrowing to do the infrastructure.
So yes, so TIFs are not, this is not just to make Larry Chapman rich. Well, he certainly, any developer is going to profit on it. Let me state that with any development, but the TIF by law goes to public infrastructure. So we can't just put this into building Larry's condo building. This goes to streets, it goes to the floodway improvement, it goes to streetscapes, all the sewers, water, all the things that the public would own or have a vested interest in, not just making a new office building happen because people want a new office building. So,
And are those instruments bonds or what?
yeah, usually it's bonds. Now yep, you get a general obligation bond. That's what we did at the shops at Old Webster TIF. And then the increment the actuaries can tell you exactly how much you can bond for. And then that tax revenue is dedicated to paying it off. Our TIFs in Webster have always paid off early. So what you'll see in the cost benefit analysis is the full life, which is 23 years, but we've always reached, essentially paying the mortgage off early, right? We've always been able to do that. Now there is another model which allows pay as you go, which essentially the increment is held in escrow each year and then you pay bills and you do little projects, but it is unlikely. My view is that it's going to be bonded because there's such an infrastructure work to be done with the flood and the streets needs that the developer, and that's key to the whole project, reshaping that parcel. If it's going to happen, those bonds would go out and the increment would pay for bonds because the cash will be needed soon in the project rather than waiting over the course of the lifetime of the TIF.
Well, Allison, I'm glad you asked that question. Eric, that seems to be a strength of yours. That's something you have experience with in the past, huh?
Thank you. Yes. So my background in Arizona didn't have TIFs where I came from, but I'm originally from Wisconsin. And so and I worked in Milwaukee County for many years, and we had city of Milwaukee alone had 300 TIFs. So,
wow.
So we have TIF commissions were nothing like they are here. We met on a Wednesday at 1 o'clock. And if we weren't done by 1:30 on Wednesday, something was wrong. This TIF was going sideways. So
I'm heading to Milwaukee today.
well, good. Enjoy.
All right, Eric, did you conclude your city update?
So mine is good, and I just, Mr. Chair, if we can, I don't know if Councilwoman Richardson has any updates. that you
Sorry,
wanted.
go ahead. Sarah.
Sure, I just was going to add a couple of parks things, just in case you're interested. There's a lot of feedback opportunities coming up for various public spaces, including tonight. The skate park is going to be discussed. For those who are interested, it's at 6 o'clock down at the skate park itself to talk about kind of next steps there and the design of the improvements that will hopefully be going in there. There's also ongoing feedback opportunities for Ivory Crockett Park, where we're going to be making some updates and redoing some of the recreational stuff there and the picnic shelters. And so there's a survey out on the city website that would be really great if folks were willing to put their feedback in, and just wanted to make sure those opportunities were kind of out there. And Eric, I didn't know if you wanted to speak a little bit to what's going on Big Bend during, like, in the Old Orchard area with all the construction there, if there's anything maybe to share.
Yeah, so we obviously are doing sidewalk replacement if everyone's been through Big Bend up in Old Orchard. So sidewalk replacement is being done. That will be October 15th is the scheduled end of the project timeline. As I talk to Todd, I always like to give a couple weeks because I know how projects go.
And decorative streetlights.
and decorative streetlights. So we are, their parts of their streetscape are moving forward at this moment. So that's happening, and that is adding impulse just back to your streetscape, both for my view on, let's make sure we get these streetscape projects moving and done. And we've got budget, council has been good to put budget money together. So we want to make sure to keep those projects moving and get them done. So that is happening, and that has been, it has been interesting for me, and I would love to hear your thoughts as business owners as well. I actually forgot one item, so I'm going to use this opportunity to do it. You know, we got some good feedback from Old Orchard folks, right? You know, like communication and connection on who at the city they connect with and such. Todd has gotten most of those emails, and so he's diligent in answering, but how do we help on the front end with those projects? And not to slow down Todd's team and the contractors, but help make communication and signage work the best for the community and make sure businesses can stay open. To that point, Business Development Commission, I almost forgot the biggest announcement. The city has got the American Rescue Plan funding, which is $4.6 million from the federal government, which will be coming soon. The first tranche, first payment of about 2.3. Part of that potential use is business community use, businesses affected by COVID. And that's not just the restaurant shut down, but we've all had an effect from COVID in some way. And there are potential uses of those funds that the city could use to help improve the business climate and sustainability of businesses. As part of that, not just with the funding, but even with our overall look at what we do here at the city, the Business Development Commission, at my suggestion, but I'm really glad they agreed to sponsor and be a part of this, is going to be hosting a business roundtable or breakfast or lunch. We're figuring that out, but soon for the city to listen to the business community, not just the people who have businesses here, but the people that do business with the city. So the contractors, the folks who come through our permitting process, all that. What are we doing at the city that helps, that hurts, all the red tape, or things that we should be looking at more of, really to get feedback and input on those things as we look at our own processes, but also where can we help firm up and help our business climate and our business community here in Webster Grove. So it's an interest of mine, but it's also a good learning area for both Dr. Peoples and I as being new. What are those pressure points that businesses feel that we don't know about, that as they work with the city, or that the city may not even be causing it, but it's causing the business community some heartburn and heartache as they work through their lives. So we'll be putting that out. I think what I heard from one business district is daytime works a lot better for business owners than an evening meeting. I'm sure I'm going to get the same amount of nods across the way here. And I'm thinking potentially a breakfast, a business breakfast type of moment to bring people together before your day kicks off. And we'll obviously have to do hybrid because we want to be able to allow people that don't want to be in a room to join us, but hoping for a good set of input here this fall yet from the business community. So now I'm done, Chair. Thank you. Sorry.
Sarah, question for you. Did this reach any meetings at the intersection of Big Bend and Elm, or did parents of the students complain to Jerry, and that's how Jerry got involved? Have you heard in any of your council meetings or any meetings at all that you've attended about Jerry's interest in this?
I think it's a good question. I know she, it became kind of high on her list when we first started hearing about the additional funding that might be coming through from the American Rescue Plan. That's when I first heard her speak about it. As we were looking at kind of major areas to improve, that was kind of her number one thing. And I think from what I heard her say, there's also kind of an opportunity here to make sort of an entrance into Webster Groves in that way, on that side of the community where we don't really have a welcome to Webster Groves kind of area. So I'm not exactly sure. We haven't heard a lot from parents or the school board, as far as I know, on this specifically, but I know that's a concern that we all have, is what that pedestrian situation is and how it's increasing. So you'd have to ask her, I guess, about kind of why this kind of jumped to the top of her list, or if it was just the opportunity kind of presented itself. But
Chairman, if I can just add to that, when I first joined in May and obviously talked about the transition that would happen with me to coming to the business district, as we were talking with the mayor and such, it was evident that, you know, we were gonna need some political pull with the county, not just staff level conversations,
Yeah.
but
Right.
so both the mayor and Councilwoman Arnold, who have good relationships with county elected leaders, agreed. And that there was a first meeting before the one on Friday that they had conducted a few months back with the county again, sort of get things restarted after COVID and open that door up. So they both sort of dove in on, we put this in the budget. We need to get the county at the table and really try to get this, moving forward again so that we don't have carryovers for years of a city budget waiting on the county to figure out how we can get this done. So.
Well, good. Well, thanks for, both of those responses. You've got a motivated group, Eric, and Todd. So, and if the subcommittee needs anything else from us, please don't hesitate, but have at it and wish you the best. We want you to bring it home. Okay, next meeting is Thursday, October 21st. Yep, okay. And we got a minute. Any other comments, questions? Anybody want to make any comments to the subcommittee?
I just have a question about the new golf cart thing. Can somebody please explain that to me? Because all of a sudden we got somebody driving their scooter down Big Bend in the middle of the afternoon. And I know that Webster had just passed something about golf carts being permitted to be driven around Webster. So I just need some clarification on that. Does anybody have any idea what I'm talking about?
No, I certainly do. I'm going to try to pull up the website really quick here because I think we've got, I think it's up there.
It's not going.
Of course it's not going. Why would it be going? Why wouldn't it be going? Sorry, folks, I'm getting there. But yes, we allow it going. We allow, there it is.
Yeah, it's going.
There we go. Web. There we go. That should go better. All right. So let's see if we've got golf carts still posted here. We allow
Still
golf
there.
carts. What's that?
I was just saying it's still there. I just saw it on the city website.
Okay, got it. So I'm sharing my screen now. There we are. Boom, boom. There we go. So golf carts are allowed in Webster Groves. And they all have to be licensed and inspected by the police department. And so
Okay.
I would encourage you on the front page of webstergroves.org, you'll see on the scrolling banner, there's a golf cart, big red box with a golf cart in it. Click on that, and then we'll get you to this page on who's permitted. Now, scooters are a different story. Is it a scooter or a golf cart that you?
Oh, no, it's one of those scooters that you drive around the grocery store. And he's frequently going down to, I don't know where he's going, but let's see, he's Candy Apple Red. And I'm like, I don't think that's right. But what happens is that speaks to our safety of that intersection and everything. So, I'm like, okay, this is not going to work. So just wanted to kind of put it on someone's radar.
Well, I appreciate that. Todd, I don't know. I'm assuming you're talking about the little two-wheel scooters like people rent in other towns and such.
No, it's
No.
a little.
Oh, the handicap scooter.
That
Yeah,
you have in the grocery
So
store.
those are pedestrian allowed, aren't they?
they're only on the
Yeah, those
sidewalk.
are
on the sidewalk.
pedestrian.
Right,
They have
yes,
to go on the sidewalk, not in the road.
right.
No, he's on the road. And,
The police need to be known about that.
Yeah.
And
I
I'll
will
have to go talk
let
to
Chief Curtis know for his patrol folks over
I'll
there.
have to go
Okay,
talk
that's
to him.
perfect. Okay.
That's a good idea.
That's not smart. Let's write this on the street. It's not.
Does anybody want to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? Kelly seconding. All those in favor? Aye. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.